Hey guys, welcome back. I think sales is like a poker game. I often use the analogy of it being a chess match. But it's also a poker game. Often when it comes to poker, the old adage is you should play the player, not the hand. So you're playing the person who's playing the cards, not the cards themselves, because ultimately that person will inform you of how they're going to play their hand anyway, if you know that person. So, you've heard of a tell. So a tell in poker is maybe a mannerism or body language, something typically subconscious that someone's doing, a mannerism, a tick, if you will. Maybe they're rubbing their nose every time they have a good hand, or maybe they're something. Or maybe they look at you. That's why a lot of poker players wear sunglasses. So we play the player, not the hand. Now, how do we play the player? Well, we have to inhabit their emotions. This takes some work. This takes spending time. This takes building value. How do you build value? You spend time. So we're going right around the circle. But we need to be able to empathize with somebody and truly listen to somebody. Now remember, buyers are liars. We often get, salespeople often get a bad rap for allegedly being dishonest or manipulative. Now, unfortunately, there are some cases out there where that is the case. But I will say that there's just as many buyers out there that are dishonest with us. Okay, and they're being very covert, and they're not giving us the whole truth. They're omitting information. They're afraid to tell us, or quite simply don't feel comfortable. Now, how do we make them feel comfortable? Because that, after all, is the key. Well, we have to be able to empathize with them, and we have to ask them excellent questions, which we always talk about. But we have to do a good job of being an investigator and uncovering their emotional layers. Why are they doing this? We know this. And how do we do this? Well, we pay attention. And this is where the other analogy comes in. You have to be an actor. That person, that prospect is your acting partner. You have to be in the moment with them. And when you're in the moment with them, when you're really trying to connect with them and build rapport and uncover those layers and ask them good questions that lead you to talking about things that are very emotional for them, you're connecting as a human being from person to person. That makes somebody feel comfortable. Your attention should be on three things. One, them. Remember, you're placing your attention on that other person. What their body language is, what they're telling you, the eye contact, what's going on with them, how they're talking, what's their voice like, everything. You're just taking it all in. And you're right there. You're taking them in. You're taking another person in. And then the other part of it, the second thing you're focusing on is the questions that you're asking them and the reasons why you're asking them. So you're focused on those questions. And the third thing you're focused on is how they're responding. What are the subliminal messages that they're sending you through body language, through tics, through their change in eyes and how they look at you and how they're responding? It's all right there. All you have to do is trust yourself. Now, your instincts you have instincts, we all do. But your instincts may not be in tune yet because you haven't had enough experience, or you don't feel comfortable enough yet because you've been conditioned to not trust yourself when it comes to paying attention to somebody. You're just not sure of yourself yet. Pay attention to the other person, what they're saying, how they're saying it, how it makes you feel, because we ultimately want to feel what they're feeling. If we ask them the proper questions, we want to inhabit that person, be like, well, how would I feel in that position? And if you can feel that yourself, if you can get in that person's psyche and understand why they're feeling that way, why they're here, what they're trying to solve, what they're trying to improve, and you know where they're coming from, it's a lot easier to naturally know how to respond to them. So pay attention to how they're responding. If their voice comes up, if they have a tick, if they're behaving differently than they have the entire time until this point in time when the conversations become a little more intense. Maybe it's about pricing, or maybe the concerns have finally reared their ugly heads. Regardless, place that attention on the other person and really try to inhabit what they're feeling. Now, that does not mean to buy in. Don't let them sell you into why they can't do something. I'm not saying that, as the old adage goes, someone's getting sold, you or them. Does that make sense? So if you're not selling them on the reason, if you're not convincing them the reason why they need you, and obviously they're already halfway convinced because they're sitting there with you, so all you can really do is drop the ball, then you might as well be the one that convinces them that they need to do something healthy for themselves. I don't want you believing or buying their excuses, in other words. There's no one that can convince me that they don't need personal training or anything to do with their health that's not good for them. Because they're going to spend the same amount of money, or they can do something. Because they can spend the same amount of money and go next door and buy a purse, or they go next door and buy a fast food meal, or they go to buy a new pair of shoes that they don't really need. Everyone does this. No one's excluded from this. So there's no reason why they can't do that. Everyone pays for stuff that they make a priority. It's a matter of a priority. So that's that. Again, your two things: you're a poker player playing the hand, and you're an actor placing the attention on that person and then the questions and their responses. The poker analogy: once you learn to play the player, you'll naturally know how to play the hand that the situation is giving you. And that's, I guess, the whole lesson.